Hare Krishna. First of all, I have to apologize that I'm not Vaisheshika. I told Govinda Charan, he woke me up. At least he mostly woke me up. And I probably wouldn't have agreed to give class in front of so many august superiors if I weren't 3/4 asleep. But I know that Govinda Charan doesn't do anything that is beyond the desire of Indradjuna Swami, so it seems I have to give class, so I'm sorry for that. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashta Praishu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishne Swadhamopagate Dharmagnanadibhisaha Kalau Nashtadrishamesha Puranarko Dhunoditaham. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. This is, again, this verse is selected by Govinda Charan Prabhu. This is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 2, Remembrance of Lord Krishna. Today, we don't have the verse on the screen. And today we're discussing text number 23, famous verse. I'm sorry we don't have the verse, so I'll just chant myself. Oho bakiyam stanakala kotam jighansaya payayadapya sadhvi lebhe gatim dhatriuchitam tatonyam kam vadayalum sharanam vrajema. Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he who granted the position of mother to a she-demon, Putana, although she was unfaithful, and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. Let's repeat this. Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he who granted the position of mother to a she-demon, Putana, although she was unfaithful, and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Here is an example of the extreme mercy of the Lord, even to his enemy. It is said that a noble man accepts the good qualities of a person of doubtful character, just as one accepts nectar from a stalk of poison. In his babyhood, he was administered deadly poison by Putana, a she-demon, who tried to kill the wonderful baby. And because she was a demon, it was impossible for her to know that the Supreme Lord, even though playing the part of a baby, was no one less than the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. His value as the Supreme Lord did not diminish upon his becoming a baby to please his devotee, Yashoda. The Lord may assume the form of a baby or a shape other than that of a human being, but it doesn't make the slightest difference. He's always the same Supreme. A living creature, however powerful he may become by dint of severe penance, can never become equal to the Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna accepted the motherhood of Putana because she pretended to be an affectionate mother, allowing Krishna to suck her breast. The Lord accepts the least qualification of the living entity and awards him the highest reward. That is the standard of his character. Therefore, who but the Lord can be the ultimate shelter? Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Oho Bakiyam Stanakala Kutam Jighasaya Payayad Api Asadhvi Lebhe Gatim Dhatri Uchitam Tatoanyam Kam Vadayalum Sharanam Vrajema. Alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he, who granted the position of mother to a she-demon Putana, although she was unfaithful, and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. This is, as I said, a very famous verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam. It has been the cause of ecstasy for devotees throughout the ages. It's many times in the Shastra we read about devotees who are reciting this verse and who take inspiration from it. It's very often quoted by Srila Prabhupada. And it's an extreme, it's a very eloquent testimony to the extreme mercy of Lord Krishna. Who is speaking this verse? Uddhava. Vidura asked Uddhava to please say something about Krishna. He was inquiring. So Uddhava immediately went into ecstasy, immediately, because that is the nature of love. Uddhava was feeling intense separation from the Lord, and immediately he went into ecstasy. It's described in previous verses. And after some time, he stabilized himself, and then he tried to answer the question, but mainly he's focusing on Krishna's wonderful character. For example, he says, "When I think of Lord Krishna, how he was born in the prison house of Vasudeva, although he is unborn, how he went away from his father's protection to Vraja and lived there incognito out of fear of the enemy, and how, although unlimitedly powerful, he fled from Mathura in fear. All these bewildering incidents give me distress." Lord Krishna begged pardon from his parents for his and Balaram's inability to serve their feet due to being away from home because of great fear of Kamsa. He said, "O mother, Father, please excuse us for this inability. All this behavior of the Lord gives me pain at heart." You have personally seen how the king of Chedi, Shishupal, achieved success in yoga practice, although he hated Lord Krishna. Even the actual yogis aspire after such success with great interest by performance of their various practices. Who can tolerate separation from him? In this way, he's going on, remembering Krishna. We can see that those devotees who had personal association with Srila Prabhupada, they can speak very easily from the heart about that association. When I was in Mayapur in 1978, this is Gaur Purnima festival. This is just a few months after Srila Prabhupada left the planet. And they asked Brahmananda Prabhu to give the class. So he was speaking from these instructions of Rishabhadev to his 100 sons. Rishabhadev had given, chapter 5 of the 5th canto. He gives wonderful instructions on the process of self-realization. And the ultimate instruction is that you should accept a highly elevated spiritual master, follow his instructions, become trained by him, and achieve the success of the human form of life. So Brahmananda is reading all these instructions at this class. He had just read the purport and the verse in the purport. And his class only lasted about 2 sentences or 3 sentences. He said that the instructions given by Rishabhadev to his son are very valuable to his sons. They're very valuable. He said, "I wasn't so fortunate that my father instructed me with these things." And he paused for a moment and then he said, "Then I met my real father." And at that time, he broke down and couldn't continue the class. That was the end of the class. But it was sufficient. At least I remember it so many years later. So Uddhava is speaking in this way. And in some ways you can say this is really, it's at least one of the conclusions that he's come to. Now the Acharyas commenting on this verse, beginning with Srila Prabhupada, first thing Srila Prabhupada says, what is the significance of this verse? Here is an example of the extreme mercy of the Lord, even to his enemy. In Rupa Goswami's Lagu Bhagavatam, his purpose is to elaborate and demonstrate, corroborate the assumption that is implicit in the Brihad Bhagavatam written by his elder brother, Sanatana Goswami. In Brihad Bhagavatam, Sanatana Goswami assumes that we all understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as the title suggests, Brihad Bhagavata Amritam. It is the nectar of all the great devotees of the Lord. And he gives so many examples, one after another, how the devotees are so exalted. And successively, he goes to higher and higher levels of devotees in that book. But he didn't actually prove that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Brihad Bhagavatamritam, it's implicit, it's understood. In Laghu Bhagavatamritam, therefore, Brihad means big, Laghu means little. So Sanatana Goswami's little brother wrote the little Bhagavatamritam, and there he actually unpacked all the assumptions that were implicit in the Brihad Bhagavatam, one of which is that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and that there are successive levels of devotees, the highest of which are the gopis. So he actually proves all of this with extensive elaboration from various places in the Shastra. Vishnu Purana is a very important Shastra for us. Throughout the Shat Sandarbhas of Jiva Goswami, he quotes extensively from Vishnu Purana. Rameshwar Prabhu told me that this was one of the books that Srila Prabhupada personally told him he wanted translated. Maybe someday that will be done. We'll see. But it's a very important text. And in the Laghu Bhagavatamritam, Srila Rupa Goswami quotes an extensive passage from Parashar Muni. Parashar Muni is whom? The father of Vyas, and the main speaker of the Vishnu Purana. And it has to do with the various forms of the Lord. The various forms of the Lord are categorized and analyzed and characterized in the Laghu Bhagavatamritam, culminating in Lord Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Of all the different forms of the Lord are non-different, but they don't all show the same amount of potency. And in particular, to demonstrate this, he takes two of the most well-known and popularly worshipped forms of the Lord, Ram and Narasimhadev, and he contrasts them with Krishna. These three are the main forms of the Lord. They're called Paravastha Rupas, the main forms, Narasimhadev, Ramchandra, and Krishna. So he tells the story of Shishupal. We just heard a moment ago about Shishupal. Shishupal was, of course, a great demon. First time he took birth as whom? Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu. Jai Vijay took first birth as Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu. So in that birth, Hiranyakashipu was killed by Lord Narasimhadev. But he had no idea who he was dealing with. He was completely bewildered. And he didn't realize that Narasimhadev was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was thinking that this is just some extraordinarily qualified living entity who's competent to fight with me. He can think like that because he actually was competent. He actually did conquer all of the other living entities in this universe, including Brahma, practically speaking. So, he was killed at the hand of Lord Narasimhadev, but he died in complete ignorance. And therefore, he didn't actually get the result of going back home, back to Godhead immediately. This is the explanation given in Vishnu Purana, cited by Rupa Goswami. Instead, his heart remained impure to a large degree, and he took birth as whom? Ravana. Ravana retained the same passion that motivated Hiranyakashipu's severe penance. We don't execute penance like Hiranyakashipu did. We've got more work to do. So, as Ravana, he coveted, or he envied Lord Ramchandra. He coveted Sita Devi. He was hoping that he would enjoy the supreme goddess of fortune, Sita Devi. This was his offense. Srila Prabhupada writes in the 9th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam that just as a qualified sage becomes very powerful through penance and austerity, particularly brahmacharya, similarly, a very chaste lady becomes very powerful. And he writes that because of the absolute devotion of Sita Devi for Ramchandra, she was very powerful in her own right. And when Ravana offended her, he had to suffer as a result. So again, he was killed at the hands of Ramchandra this time. This time he realized that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This time he had some knowledge, but still he was not completely purified in heart. Valmiki Ramayana describes that Ravana's trying to steal away the goddess of fortune Sita Devi from Ramchandra was like a foolish person reaching into the mouth of a hungry lion and trying to extract a tooth. This is why Valmiki is called Adi Kavi, the original poet. So he was again killed, and again he took birth, and again he had unrivaled opulence as the king of the Chedis, Shishupal. Now this time he retained not only his vengeful spirit for the death of his brother Hiranyaksha in 2 lives previous, but he also remembered that it was Vishnu who killed him in his last life. So he hated Krishna with a vengeance. His whole life, we hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, he was constantly meditating on Krishna in pure, seething hatred. He was constantly chanting Krishna's name, constantly planning how to kill Krishna. And in this way, he was, in a sense, Krishna conscious, but not favorably. Kids, don't try this at home. So, he had this curse, or this benediction, depending on how you want to look at it, that he could blaspheme Krishna in the public assembly 100 times. So everybody wanted to stop him because he's just one after another, he's coming out with these calumniations, just ridiculously offensive statements about Lord Krishna. And everybody's got their hand on their sword, just ready for the order from Lord Krishna, and Krishna's no. Because Krishna's just counting. 97, 98, 99. Finally, when it reached the critical mass, if you will, his repetition of the holy name of Krishna, this is the point that Rupa Goswami emphasizes, particularly by his association with the name of Krishna. Vachim vachakamityudeti bhavato nama swarupa dvayam. We know from Rupa Goswami, the Lord comes in his name in 2 ways. One is Krishna, who is the person who possesses the name. The other one is Krishna as the name himself, because they're non-different. Abhinnatvam nama naminoho, Padma Purana says. So the name is so merciful. The holy name of Krishna is so merciful. So he's, particularly from chanting Krishna's name, he doesn't realize that he's getting purified. Hote. Gradually, he's getting purified by this, even this envious association with the holy name. And when that reached a certain point, the purification was complete, just at this 100th blasphemy. And at that point, he had an epiphany. He realized suddenly, oh my God, I'm not the person that I think I am. This is my eternal Lord. I'm eternally in love with him. And what have I been doing this whole time? At that point, the disc had already left Krishna's finger, and it was flying towards his neck. And immediately he was killed, but he went back home, back to Godhead. So this is one example of the mercy of the Lord, and the similar example has been given in this verse. So Rupa Goswami cites this example to show us that although all the forms of the Lord are one and the same, Advaichutam Anadim Anantarupam Ityadi. So they're all non-different from the Lord, and Srila Prabhupada also says this here in his purport. Even when he becomes a baby, he's not any less than when he's Mahanarayana in Vaikuntha, or even when he takes a form that is other than human, such as Narasimhadev, he remains the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. But they don't all display the same characteristics. And of all the forms of the Lord, only Krishna is merciful to this degree that if he kills you, you are liberated immediately. You can even go back to Godhead. Now, liberation is one thing, but to go back to Godhead, that's another thing. Since we're talking about the holy name, since we're emphasizing the holy name in this festival, we can mention from the Srimad Bhagavatam again, Kraler doshanit he rajan asti hi eko mahad gunaha kirtanareva krishnasya mukta bandha param vrajet. These are two different things. Rupa Goswami has described the nature, or rather the function, of two functions of the holy name. One of them as Taraka Nama, the name that delivers you. That affects this process of Mukta Bandha. It takes you out of material contamination. That's liberation. But beyond liberation, there's an entire world waiting for us of spiritual variegatedness, of transcendental society, friendship, and love, and rasa. So that's called Paramvrajet. That is affected by the holy name of Krishna in the form of Paraka. So Tarakanam and Parakanam. This is described in Rupa Goswami's Padyavali. So by chanting Krishna's name, we can also benefit like this, even if we are envious. We know from Bhagavad Gita already, Krishna says, so many people come with so many motives. Somebody's coming because there are so many things to be gained in Krishna consciousness. Some of them are material. Somebody only wants prasadam. That's a beginning, you see. Somebody else wants to, there's so many things. We all know our own hearts, or we will know soon enough. Actually, the process of spiritual advancement is only a question of revealing all the ugly things that still have to come out. Anyway, this is an example of the extreme mercy, because Putana was, in fact, envious, it's said here, a sadhvi. She was not a faithful person. She actually had the intention to kill him, and in her characteristic style, one of the acharyas has written this. He said, if I can remember, her shila, her character was to eat people, to eat babies in particular. I think it was Viragavacharya. Yeah, here it is, he says. Baka bhakshanam iti dhatu. The word baka. Who is baka? Bakasura. Any relation with Baki? Brother, sister? Baka Baki. Just like in Mathura, if you go to Vishranti Ghat and take your bath there, if you're knowledgeable, you'll know where to go after that. There's a small temple inside the gully, and it's called Yama Yami. Yama Yami. Yamaraj and Yami. Who's Yami? Yamuna Devi. Bhanu, she's the daughter of the sun. So, in the same way, we have Baka Baki. Bakasura and his sister, Baki, or Putana. They were known to kill and eat people. This is the nature. Bhakshana Shilatvat, Baki, Putana, Viragavacharya says. So, this is what she's doing. And Jighansaya Payayad Apiya Sadvi. Yamstana Kalakutam. Kalakuta means a very powerful poison. What's the most powerful poison that we know of? Any chemists? Ricin, right? Comes from castor bean plant. They grow everywhere. If terrorists only knew. Anyway, so this is this kind of thing. Very powerful poison. And she smeared that on her breast deliberately to kill him. She had this insidious plan. And because she was in her own right, even demons sometimes have some power, for a while she had some power. So she was able to cover herself very nicely, and nobody questioned her. She walked in, she was so shining, everybody thought, is this goddess Lakshmi personified come to visit Kanha? In Vrindavan, they sing a nice song. Lag jayegi more kanha ko koi mat dekho na jadiya. Means, nobody look at my kanha because he might get the evil eye. Recently at Araraman temple, was his appearance day. And one Shivats Goswami's daughter-in-law she's a very good singer, she was singing this song. So this was the spirit in Vrindavan at the time. Putana came into the assembly and everybody just allowed her entry, no questions asked, even though she was a complete stranger. She was so awesome in her presence that they thought, okay, she's some demigod coming to benedict Kanha. So this was her act. Now Prabhupada continues in the last paragraph. Lord Krishna accepted the motherhood of Putana because she pretended to be an affectionate mother, allowing Krishna to suck her breast. The Lord accepts the least qualification of the living entity and awards him the highest reward, particularly in his form as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But we'll get to that in a moment. So, we are also pretending to be devotees. In our more honest moments, we know where we stand. And that's why, just like Shachinandan Maharaj the other day was encouraging all of us to really, really come from the heart and beg, cry for the mercy of the Lord. We have a short window of opportunity. When I was in Seattle, the devotees there, they had printed up these mantra cards. Probably it was Govinda Charan, because it's consistent with his character. They printed up these mantra cards. It gives the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then the caption at the bottom said, please chant this mantra while you can. The hint is there, you see. We don't know how long we'll last. Last summer, I was in Chicago with Vrajapati Prabhu. I got a phone call from my sister. She said, my brother had cancer several years before, and they cleared it up for some time. But as is often the case, it comes back with a vengeance, no? So it came back, and they found that there were 3 or 4 tumors wrapped around his carotid artery. Those who are doctors know what this means. You can't really do anything. If you try to operate, it will induce a stroke and you're finished. So it was a very touchy surgery. She said, he may not make it, you better come. So I came immediately. 2 days later, I was in the hospital, and the same brother told me that, because he was conscious by this time, he told me that, the same sister who called me to tell me to come, she herself was in the same hospital 1 floor beneath him because she lost her balance one day. And the doctor, she was smart enough to check it out, and the doctor told her there's some obstruction in your head, glioblastoma. You cannot operate a tumor in the brain. You cannot do anything with that. Both of them are gone now, less than 6 months. You see? So, Jaba laga taname tapana vyapai, taba laga kari hari seva, one poet has written. While you can, take advantage. It's a short opportunity. It will not last. And this Sadhu Sanga is like a little slice out of eternal time, 3 days only. We can sit here without any distraction and simply absorb in the real thing. Sarvabhauma Prabhu from Houston was telling me yesterday, his prayer is that at the time of death, that Krishna will judge only the time that he spent here in Sadhu Sanga. So this is what we're doing. We should take it very seriously, and we should take heart from this example of Putana. She is a hardcore demon, really hardcore, worse than us, we can say, actually. We may feel like we're that bad, but she was the real thing. And she wanted to kill Krishna. Raise your hand if you've ever tried to kill Krishna. You see? So, We have some hope. Now let's take this to the next level, because Krishna, out of all the forms of the Lord, all the acharyas are telling us, Krishna is the most merciful form. This is the point of that whole passage of Vishnu Purana. The context is Rupa Goswami's claim that Krishna is more merciful than anyone else. This verse is another case in point. And Krishna himself is being most merciful, but when he becomes absorbed in Radha Bhava Dyuti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Surupam, Jiva Goswami says. When he becomes absorbed in the ecstasy of Srimati Radharani, he becomes thoroughly intoxicated. We were discussing this yesterday. Just like some wealthy zamindar, he has all the money that you could want. Everybody know who is Lala Babu? You've heard this name from Nectar of Devotion and in Vrindavan. He actually bought up nearly half of Vrindavan about 100 years ago. His aim was to preserve these places, to save them from the British. In those days, India was not independent. Sometimes we think it was better in those days for that reason. But anyway, he was a great devotee and the example of humility that Srila Prabhupada cites in Nectar of Devotion. Although he was the most wealthy person in East India at the time, most wealthy person, he accepted a loincloth, he gave up everything, and he went to Vrindavan, and he gave all this money to build these temples and renovate so many places. And even he would go to the homes of his former political and business rivals and enemies, and he would beg from them also. You see? Anyway, he took advantage. So the mercy of Lord Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like one of these zamindars, very rich people, but let's say he's sharabi, he takes intoxication. So one day he becomes thoroughly intoxicated, he forgets everything that he's doing, and he just throws open the doors of his treasury and just starts flailing his wealth about, throwing jewels and so many valuable things. Anybody can have them, he just starts throwing them out wildly with abandon. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is our only hope. We don't have any station here to discuss these high topics. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chosen to give this thing. Yognana mattam bhuvanam dayalur ulaghayam apiyap karamot pramattam swaprema sudha swaprema sampat sudhayad bhuteham Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mamum Prapadye. The very lowest of people, he finds them out. Anvadhavat. He chases them down. No matter where they are hiding. He won't let them escape from the Prema Mahajala, the great network of his love. And he's given them the very highest thing we've already discussed. He's not just taking us out of this world, but he's giving us this Param Vrajet, this highest benediction of pure love of Godhead. This thing was never given before. Anarpita chirim chirat kuranyavatirna kalao. He comes in the age of Kali. Not exactly another avatar, but Krishna himself. Therefore he retains the full mercy of the most merciful form of Lord Krishna. And he's giving it away for free. Through whose agency? His divine grace. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we've all been given an inconceivable, inestimable benediction, the greatest possible wealth. Lifetimes after lifetimes of penance and austerity and even devotional service, you can hardly come to this great benediction. And it's been given to us for free. Especially Srila Prabhupada often used to quote this verse, Bharata bhumite hoilo janma manushya janmajar janma sharthak kori korapar upakar. Those who are taking birth in India especially, when I was in Seattle, I used to preach to all Tamil Ayers from Chennai, working for Microsoft. So I used to tell them, you have the system requirements to run this software. For us, it's a problem. We're here just, we're being used as cannon fodder for Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement, but actually you people, you own this thing. This is in your genes, it's in your blood. What do we say in English? Nice English word, visceral. Or samskar is the word in Sanskrit. Prabhupada said, you just scratch Krishna consciousness, it comes out. This is the great fortune of taking birth in India. You have to act as ambassadors of this culture and this august process, this elevated process for the whole world. Srila Prabhupada said, I'm only one Indian. If everybody took it as seriously as I did, just imagine what the result. Look at Indraduna Swami, not even Indian. By the grace of Srila Prabhupada, how many thousands and thousands of people is he helping? You see? It's possible. It's possible. Because Lord Krishna is the most merciful. Lord Chaitanya is his most merciful mood, and that mercy has been given to us free by his divine grace, Srila Prabhupada. So these are a few thoughts. We can think about this. Here, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments on this. He says, in the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan, Lord Krishna has two nursemaids that help Mother Yashoda. Their names are Ambika and Kalimba. Yeah, Kalimba. So Putana got that position by Krishna's extreme mercy, as we're hearing. She didn't just get liberation. She didn't go into the Sayujya Mukti. She was given a place in Goloka Vrindavan, Vraja Prema. You see? This is the great mercy. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was giving us that opportunity through the holy name, mainly through the name. Remember what happened to Shishupal when he chanted, even in hatred. So, Kaimutya Nyaya, they call this in Sanskrit, the logic of what to speak of. Here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Bhagavata dvishati api putana drishtanti krita. He made Putana the example that, what to speak of the rest of us. If this person can become Krishna conscious, dvishatamapi, even if such an envious person can become Krishna conscious, then what to speak of us? And then he says, Krishnavatarasya sadhano dharma uktaha. This is the dharma. Dharma means the nature of a thing. This is the dharma of Krishna. This is the nature of Krishna. He has this uncommon mercy, unparalleled mercy, especially as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These are just a few thoughts. I don't know if anybody has any questions or if we have any time for questions. Somebody? Yes. Okay.
I was thinking like...
1 second. It's probably the mercy of Prabhupada that...
Not probably.
Well, when Mukunda Dutta was taking Gadadhar Prabhu to meet, and your name also given by Prabhupada, Mukunda Dutta, and then Gadadhar Prabhu failed, and then he quoted this song, same verse, made Gadadhar Prabhu's initiation process further.
Yeah.
So I wonder whether you have any insight of that, because you happen to take the same verse as a name of Mukunda Dutta.
Well, as I said, I didn't choose the verse. So if Paramatma is at play here, you can speculate. or ask Govinda Charan, that's the authorized process.
And then my question is that in the third canto, second chapter, on this reference, Prabhupada also writes that when Shishupal got killed, those who are not favorable, inimical, they merge. And those who are favorable, at least after the Sudarshan Chakra dissolve the subtle body, they see the beauty of Krishna. If they appreciate, then they go to Vaikuntha. And those who glorify, they actually go to Golok. So I was thinking the gradual progression. So in Putana's case, what is I didn't hear what is her appreciation and glorification after There must be something. Or maybe she desired as a Ratnamala in previous life.
I have no comments. It will become complicated if we try to discuss this. Anyway, we've heard from Srila Prabhupada, his purport is sufficient. This is extreme mercy, and this mercy is available even to those who hate Krishna. So we've got some hope. There was a gentleman here with a question also, or go ahead.
I had heard, maybe you could confirm it for me, that Putana in her previous life was a daughter of Bali Maharaj. And when Vamana came into the sacrificial arena, she was very attracted. And then when he took everything away from Bali Maharaj, then she vowed to, or she wanted to kill him. Is that your understanding?
Yes, I've heard that as well. Well, at least I've heard that as well. We've all heard that as well. He mentioned it as well. But we've not heard this from Srila Prabhupada.
Okay.
And I don't know what the source of that story is. I've asked several pundits, and I just have not yet got an answer for that. So if you have an exact reference, I would be interested. Yeah.
Another question which I had was that I had heard also that in the Rajasuya sacrifice, it was not auspicious that blood be spilled.
I didn't hear you, sorry.
At the Rajasuya sacrifice where Shishupal was blaspheming Krishna, I had heard that it was not auspicious for blood to be spilled. And
Okay.
so when the Sudarshan Chakra cut off Shishupal's head, because it's also very hot, it cauterized everything, and so there was not any blood spilled. But I wanted to see if you could confirm that.
Well, certainly it's possible. There's such Achincha Shakti. Just like after Krishna chastised Kaliya, he came and the sun magnified 12 times and dried him off. That's why it's called Dwadasha Aditya Hill. 12 times as hot the sun became. So if the sun can do that, certainly Krishna can do that.
That's next to the Jamuna, isn't it? Near
Yeah,
Keshika.
exactly. In Vrindavan, Madan Mohan.
Thank you.
Okay.
Maybe you could also please give us all your mercy also.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This gentleman here in the middle, if it was actually first.
I would just say, because you insisted so much, but it was pretty much the same point of Putana. Is described that in her previous life as Ratnamala, that when she first saw Lord Vamanadev, naturally as a woman, her motherly affection instigated, and she wanted to offer her breast to let him nurse from her breast. But then afterwards, she got angry at him because he took away everything. So so anyway, when she offered her breast, she wanted to give the opportunity to Krishna to nurse from her breast. He by a nod of his head, he promised her that he would give her that opportunity. And afterwards, when she wanted to kill him, and after he took away everything, he also promised her the opportunity to try to do that. So it's described that in the Krishna Leela that she had that opportunity to try to kill. But because he also promised her that he's going to allow her to be his nurse, then that pastimes unfold. I just wanted to mention. So sometimes when we hear these pastimes, we may think, well, we can also do something demoniac, and then we can get Krishna's mercy. Of course, Krishna's mercy is unconditional, but we have to desire and deserve. So I just want to mention that. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, you have a question, or you're telling me to stop?
I have a question.
Okay, one more.
I've heard that this is one of the two verses that Vyasadeva sent to Sukadeva Goswami.
I alluded to this.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
Famous verse. Many devotees have quoted this. Prabhupada quotes it. Many. Okay, thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.